The numbers are what the numbers are by the time they get to the CPA. And so what I'm able to do is to work with the CPAs, work with our clients, and really try to put in some measurements where we can actually impact those bottom line numbers in a positive sense before those numbers become solidified.
Most businesses can usually have a good idea and a good way of controlling their expenses. The most difficult thing in the world is trying to influence your sales or your revenue. That's where Colleen comes into play.
We really try to focus on how do we drive the revenues? What is it that we're trying to provide to their customers? What kind of a business are they in? How are they maximizing their employees? How are they maximizing their resources? Are they leveraging their resources very effectively? Do they even know what resources they should be leveraging?
The minute Colleen steps into it, she sets everybody in the tone that I'm here to help you, but I am going to challenge you.
And almost all small businesses struggle. You've got to tell me that it's almost impossible for a small business to be able to be good at how they manage themselves and market at the same time. That's almost impossible.
I think that a lot of organizations and a lot of companies are really challenged with the day-to-day operations. And it's just taking the time to read between the lines to figure out where the disconnects might be. And if we apply some thought process, some strategies, some innovation, that we can just streamline and make the whole entire process become more efficient.
Because of my lack of training and understanding about the financial bottom line and how to manage cash flow and how to read my P&Ls and how to do budgeting, our financial bottom line was not in the same place as what I call our spiritual bottom line.
And the skill that I am able to bring to organizations is that ability to observe as well as to assess what's happening within the organization and then create the project that is unique and specific to what their needs are. Every client is different and every client is unique. And if we try to solve it the same way, then we're creating yet more of the same problems. When you look at how organizations get their teams to work together and how organizations come together to make things happen, it really is people. One of the things that I'm able to do is to work with them and to allow the people to be who they are as individuals, but leverage them against and with each other so that the strengths come out and that any sort of a weakness that might be represented within the individual team members is actually offset. So we're driving the bottom line.
But she also has an ability, while she's doing the team building, to even make owners accountable.
I'm trying to look at the things and see the things that they might not be seeing because they've been in that meeting 100 times over the last 10 years. And there's things that are happening in that meeting that are different and unique, that are either helping them or hindering whether or not they're going to get things done.
She's quick to point out to me where I'm wrong or where I need to move, which is what I need. And she's very good at coaching other personalities to get them to move where they need to move to. Very dynamic.
Functional capacity to me is a very underestimated type of a strength within organizations. We hire people and we put people into roles and we forget to challenge them functionally. And when I talk about challenging them functionally, it's continuing their growth beyond what they might have come to you with and aligning what you need them to be doing and performing on a functional level that will allow you to accomplish your overall organizational strategic goals.
She's a very skillful negotiator. Most of us have feelings of what we can do well and what we can't, and she's actually turned a few people around that thought, you know, I wasn't able to do this, but now I can see how I can do this, how I can fit in and how I can help.
We utilize surveying processes, we utilize personal assessments, which is an online system. I really think that the most significant tool that we use is observation. We observe what's happening within the organization. I typically look back through job descriptions. I look back through performance reviews. I look back through strategic plans for several years. We talk to the customers. We find out what are the customers experiencing. Is there a disconnect between what the customers are experiencing and what the internal team feels they are providing to that customer? We look at what's happening between the team members. I've got several situations where I've got 2 team members on a 5-person team and they're going head to head. Why are they going head to head?
For example, one of the gentlemen that we assessed, I've worked with him for 7 years. But when her assessment came back and she was able to walk us both through it, and we were able to see that I'm over here and he's over here just naturally, we both sort of had one of those aha moments where we went, oh, okay, we're not broken, we're not dysfunctional, we're perfect. We see things differently.
A lot of times I'll work with organizations in creating training systems that fit specifically for their needs. It might also be helping transition an individual inside their organization into a training role or a development role. The end result is different for each client that I work with. When I work with organizations, it could be on a short-term project, it could be a project to where, they have me involved in the organization for 6 months or 9 months or a year, even longer than that. It depends upon what their need structure is. But my overall goal is to always work myself out of a job by helping them become more empowered and more understanding of who they are, what their capabilities are, and how to make those things come alive when they need it to happen.
I think it's a matter of managing, as she likes to say, our buckets that we have. We've got all these different buckets of material that need to be organized and addressed and brought to life.
We really have 5 different buckets that we're working in within organizations. You've got your organizational bucket, you've got your marketing bucket, and that's where typically people would see someone like myself coming into the organization and working with the people, working with the products, working with the customers. You've got your employee bucket. There's your efficiency bucket. That's where you have to identify not only what is their functional capacity, but are we stretching them? Are we using them to the degree that we could use them to accomplish our strategic goals? Then of course you've got your financial measurable tools that sit inside of that financial bucket, and then you've got your customer relationships or your client relationships, depending upon what industry you're in. If you're not managing all 5 of those buckets efficiently and allowing things to flow between them at the right time and at the right pace, then you're going to have disconnect.
I was tired, I was exhausted, and I didn't know what to do. And Colleen was able to come in and give a perspective, and again in a positive way that uplifted me and inspired me to keep going. And it gave me that little extra oomph to do the tedious, let's track, how many kids are in what class, what's our average student age.
We all now can sit down at the table and we can all put forth our ideas. One, we don't feel like we're being threatened by exposing ourselves. Secondly, we understand now why that other person feels the way they do in the process and the value to the process.
We have to become more aware of not only who we are as an organization, but the people that we've employed to help us serve our customers or our clients. We have to look at that individual group and we have to say, what is it that we're about? What is it that we need to be about? And how do we utilize everything that we have to offer to make sure that our clients or our customers are receiving what it is that we told them they're going to receive.
The business of business is what Colleen's helped me get through. It's just the business of how to operate a business, how to run the people side of the business that she's helping me with a tremendous amount.
It's measurable because we're getting things done. We're moving things forward. We're accomplishing initiatives that have been sitting on the books for 2, 3, 4 years. And the question that business owners often have when they come to me is, I've been trying to get this particular initiative through or completed for 2, 3 years now.
I'm pretty energized. What I find myself is I'm not near as frustrated as I was. I'm finding that my energy is being able to be applied to the project again and moving forward on the project.
Yes, we accomplished goals number 1, goal number 2, and goal number 3, but there better be secondary functional capacities that come out of each one of those that we can then leverage and use for strategy number 1, strategy number 2, and strategy number 3 down the road. What we are is a partner with an organization that's really looking to make sure that all of their systems and all of their functions are moving in a continual basis and in a consistent basis towards their next strategic alignment and their strategic goals.